at WNST.net. So many stories in the big city this week. We are monitoring all things NBA Finals. We'll be going to Cleveland and out to the Bay Area to preview that, as well as the Stanley Cup Finals that have my attention. But it is Oriole baseball in a night at Brent CSN, and he made quite a stir with a very, very poignant picture of Coach Tillman up in Philadelphia the weekend. Brent, you went up there for a lacrosse game, and you wound up capturing this sort of iconic image, and I'm sure Coach Tillman's had to react to that because it got quite the play on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in a moment where we're all focused on wins and losses and X's and O's, and we're all really, they haven't been, I think, delivered all year by bringing and adopting this boy into their program. I just thought was phenomenal, and in a situation where this team is going through so much and so much emotion after a really tough overtime loss to Carolina, it really brought it back full circle. I stood there, Nestor, and watched as the players walked out of the locker room to head to the bus, and their expression just turned as Finn would run up to them and give them a high five and say, it's all going to be fine. And, and it just sort of why I think win that game, I think, was the momentum that kind of built to a national title, but additional couple of weeks for that program because of that. I'm really happy for them as well. I think that's a great story.
Brent Harris joining us here at and Comcast Sports NBC Sports Network. You can follow him at Brent at Brent CSN on Twitter. It's over. And man, I gotta say this to you, being at Comcast Sports, that Caps being Maryland being the favorite, that in the end won. A little bit of heartbreak going around here lately, right?
Yeah, it's especially in this area where so often the Caps have gotten sort of right on the cusp of winning the best team statistically all year.
Dude, I don't even have the energy to hate on Pittsburgh. I mean, I do, but I don't, I haven't watched a lot of hockey since the Caps lost because it just hurts my feelings. And besides that, the Orioles are on and I'm watching them, Yeah,
and I felt, and, the Pens are proving that, to me, they were the hottest and best team when the Caps faced them, and that was a great series. So it's not surprising the Pens continue around here. You're right. But it's amazing. The decades have passed quickly. The kids, my kids, are growing up quickly, and you're right. It happens in a heartbeat. And what's that?
Are your kids lacrosse kids or baseball kids?
Oh, no, lacrosse. I have two girls, and my oldest is into lacrosse year-round, and she plays on a club team, and that's what we do on the weekends. And, it's
and I still watch the Orioles and go to Orioles games, and then I see something like Tuesday night. Now, it feels to me like with the Orioles, let's have a frank conversation here. You've been around this as long as I've been around this. The fact that they win and that they're good and that people aren't going to the games and it's, the rain and the weather was bad and all that. Well, Tuesday night the Red Sox don't even want to come out at this point. It's very, very strange where we are with baseball right now. They give a T-shirt away. They give away something on Mother's Day or on Memorial Day. People will come out and it'll get full. But it's astonishing how it's either full or empty. And it's really astonishing to me that when I go around town, people don't talk about baseball around here. And I think it's guys like you and people that are our age, where we talked about the Kellys and other families here, that their kids are growing up with lacrosse, and maybe the ball game's a place to go and have a beer or a picnic or go to a game once in a while. Soap opera, I'm starting to see the beginning of like the horse racing era. Vince Bagley and Jack Dawson would read you the Laurel results on the news, and now all of a sudden with baseball, I feel like it's slipping away a little bit, and maybe 15 years of losing has done that, but I hear more about lacrosse. I feel more about lacrosse than I do about, what happened to Caleb Joseph earlier this week, just as an example.
I think it's interesting, too, until school lets out, baseball sort of takes a back seat. And, once school's out and families can start taking their kids during the week, you see 17,000 at Camden Yards when the Red Sox are in town. It shouldn't go to some games. They love watching it on TV. We have it on all the time. But it's just difficult. There's so many things. I talk to parents all the time because of the kids being in sports. It is so busy when your kids are in activities and you just can't get away during the week.
I lost some of my best friends, for the Thursday event we had a few weeks ago. Some of my best friends in the world didn't make it to our event because their kids were playing lacrosse, baseball, whatever they do. And that's just a real reality when you want your kids involved in sports. It's not a part-time endeavor, right? I mean, being a soccer mom, we used to joke about that. But, wherever it is dominating whatever your child's sport is. It's dominating your life as well.
Ness, it's a full-time job, and the biggest thing that you deal with on a nightly basis is how are you going to get dinner? You know what I mean? You can't even, it really, it's great for them. I think sports has changed so much on that level when you talk about, kids' sports, but, it's great for them. I love doing it, love being a part of it. I love seeing them grow through sports, but it is a full-time.
Brent Harris joining us here. He is reporter, host for Comcast Sportsnet. Of course, you know him well at CSN. You can what happened last week in Houston. They'll figure that. The time of the year where you start to see, and from a bullpen standpoint, I think it is time to be a little concerned about the
hot start. And since that hot start, they've been about a 500 team. Sort of the formula that we've been used to the last couple of years. When they hit, they don't pitch. When they pitch, they don't hit. It's just not training. Consistency out of their pitching staff, some consistency out of the bullpen, some consistency, at the plate. It is going to be a really good team. I think Bucks make almost every right decision. I just think you have the best manager in baseball. I really do. But, your guys have to perform, and you got to click, all together at some point. It's not going to happen all the time over 162, but at some point, you got to go through that where you win 5, 6 straight, where you win 8 out of 10, and everything's working well. We haven't seen it since the start of the year.
I won't dispute your Bucks the best manager on earth scenario, but when Jimenez is out there 1-0, 2-1, behind batters, walking guys, third inning, 65 pitches in, it's part of that, especially where they don't have any depth in middle relief. End of the game, sure, I'll give you that, but the middle relief they're trying to figure out. They're trying to figure Bundy out. Certainly Gausman gave them very little chance to win on Tuesday night. Jimenez hasn't given them a chance to win in a month, and they're still having to give these guys the ball because they don't have anything beyond Mike Wright, who I don't think they really want to give the ball to every fifth day either.
I think, too, there was a time that you might go out there and pull your starter, especially with the offense they have, because you can always come back. This is a team that can score runs. So you go out, get the starter early, but then you tax the bullpen. I do think, and it's the right call, there's going to be times you're going to have to leave your starter out there, even though they struggle early. Hope they figure it out and then go to the bullpen. Because if you tax the bullpen early, and we've seen them do this, then you're kind of in a hole for the next 3, 4, 5 days, right? And until you get another solid start and you can rest those guys, you're always trying to play catch up. You're always trying to get some guys some rest. You can't always do that. So, I think Buck's right. You got to leave Jimenez out there, even if he struggles the first couple innings. Let him see if he can settle in. Let him see if he can get you a little deeper into the game. Because it's, I think, more long-term the view should be than it should be short-term. You may drop a game or two because of that, but in the long term, I think it's going to save you.
Because you're an old guy like me, and you've seen it all through the Eddie Murrays and the Cal Ripkens, and the birth of great players here. This Machado thing is fascinating, right? And I have no idea which way it's going to go. If the old man's going to pony up $300 million and keep him around, but what we're in the midst of is seeing the beginning of a.
You want to purchase in whatever business you might have, and Manny Machado is one of the best players in baseball. He's young. And the market is going to be set, and it's just whether or not you're going to pay it, period. Whether or not you're going to pay that kind of money for a ball player. Teams do. Will the Orioles? That's the big question because it's going to be a huge contract. But he's young. He's super talented, great defensive player. You couldn't ask for more out of a baseball player. Do you want to pay one of the top players in baseball, or do you want to have guys that are, the 30th, 40th, 50 best players and stockpile them? That's what it comes down to. Do we want to put sort of all of our eggs into one basket and give this guy the big-time bucks to keep him here? To me, the answer is yes. You have Matt, you'll make that money. You let him go.
Dodgers have carried around contract that's essentially. With the Ravens, Brent, offseason's gone pretty well for the most part, other than the tragedy that, down in Miami. A lot of the things that they've wanted to get done coming off a bad year, I think they've gotten done.
Yeah, you got to remember, too, they didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. So they got to, I think they got some pretty good deals with Mike Wallace and Eric Weddle and Ben Watson. I think they definitely improved in those areas. Safety was a huge issue. I think they did get better. They made some really smart moves. I thought the draft was really good as well, adding a lot of depth. Especially
Week 12 of the season, Brent, Steve Smith and Terrell Suggs, will they be factors in your mind at this point? And I know the team is, I'm in believing they'll be there. Then there's the Dennis Pitta thing. I mean, this team has a lot of fascinating camp to see where these veteran guys are health-wise because, Suggs, Smith, Pitta, we all know their names. We all know their reputations. We all know where the top side of their careers were. The question is, where are they going to be this season?
It's funny. I think all those positions, right, you're talking about a rush. Part of that is because they want those veterans fresh late in the season. If Kamar Aiken and Perryman and Mike Wallace are all catching balls, maybe Steve Smith's numbers are down, but maybe he taxes his legs and his body a little less during the regular season. Same at tight end. If Pitta makes the team, if he's fully healthy, you have some other guys, Max Williams and Ben Watson. I think they put Dennis Pitt on the field 80%, 70% of the time. And the same thing with Russia. They went out and got a ton of guys in the draft. They think Zadarius Smith is going to be really good. So, they've added depth, and that was a real big part of wanting to focus on those veterans they feel are going to be key late in the season. You need them to be fresh. You need them to be healthy. And I think adding the depth, while we don't know if all that depth's going to turn out, at least you added it, and you're giving them a chance now to maybe rest these guys and maybe not work them as hard as you did last year.
Hey, man, I tip my cap to you for telling the story about that Sunday and sharing that picture. I did not know the boy had leukemia. I'm going to pass it along to my wife, and we'll throw a message. Man, great having you on, and I hope to see you at an OTA or a mandatory coming to you soon, but just not this week, Brent.
Yeah. Hey, and all the best to your wife. I understand there was really good news this week, and I think we're all excited about that. It's as we talked about John Tillman and that young boy. There's a lot of fights out there, so when you hear victories, it's really a great thing.
Well, she's back to work. She is Jen Strong. Appreciate you, Brent. We'll see you soon, bud.
All right, bro.
You got it, Brent, CSN, out on Twitter. Brent Harris, of course, you can follow him out there as well as at Comcast Sportsnet and the NBC Sports Network. You can find me out in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. Download it on the TuneIn radio app. You can also email me, nasty@WNST.net. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, anywhere you are, including our WNSTV on YouTube. I've been streaming all week long, trying to get this Facebook mobile live thing working with some good sound as well. We're always out there doing our thing. The morning newspaper hits you at 7 a.m. each and every morning to your email inbox. It's free of charge, and it's powered up by PlanetFitness.com. And if you want break T-Tech service, that is brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports. Welcome back, WNST Towson, Baltimore, and WNST